I mean, today we've got amazing guests.
Yeah.
Like, we have Mark Pavelich, who is the president of the MFC, Maximum Fighting Championships, which honestly is right now my favorite fight organization.
And why is that?
We watched it on Friday night again. I mean, I've been following it for quite a while, but it's on HDNet. It looks amazing.
Yeah, what's HD?
Yeah, well, for sure. I mean, blood in HD is way bloodier. But no, it just looks great. They have great matchmaking. And honestly, I like Mark Pavelich as a promoter because he's kind of he stays involved in it, and he's this controversial, kind of like real aggressive guy who, when people challenge him or people kind of get in the way of Maximum Fighting Championships, he comes out swinging. So he's a character in his own right. And I like that about MFC. Him and his family are characters. Like, they're really unique individuals running that organization.
That's pretty cool. And you know what I think is just interesting to know is just how well are they doing, you know what I mean? Because I watched the MFC 20 as well on HDNet, and they did a quick interview, him and Ron Krug, and talked a little bit about how they're expanding and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I just want to hear how that's going, and are they making money? Because there's so many organizations that really are kind of struggling or going out of business.
Well, I know they're doing really well.
The growth of MMA. I think we, any way we can grow MMA, it's a good thing.
And Mark will be able to shed light. Mark has never at a loss for words. He does great interviews, and he's a funny character. A lot of people hate him. I like him.
Cool.
But
who else have we got on in there?
Well, we're going to try to get, sometimes we'll get really big fighters. We had Joe last week, Joe Dirksen. He's got 50 fights. I'm working on trying to get Joe Stevenson on the show, and, we'll try to get everybody on the show. But we also want to, every couple of weeks, make sure that we get an up-and-coming fighter. Right. Make sure that people realize that some of these guys with 5 or 6 fights are some exciting characters, are some great fighters, and they have different insight, right? Because you can go onto any TV show or onto any website and see, what does Diego Sanchez do to train, whatever. But what does a guy out of Regina who's got 4 fights, who, it's minus 30, he's got a regular job, how does he work his way up? So we got a guy like that, and he's a whack job too, which is great. Like, he's a weirdo, and I like that about him. Sean Quinn is his name, and he's fighting at the end of the month, so we can talk to him.
Yeah, crazy's a good thing, especially for our show.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, what happened to our beer sponsor?
See, the whole exploding, and then you kind of didn't talk it up very well, so we lost that last week. No, I also lost Smirnoff Ice. So
you lost that. They decided to sponsor me again.
Oh, yeah. Whatever. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, all right. So let's just give one more highlight, which is, again, topics we might be talking about this week, but probably we're going to run out of time like we did last week and not really cover much.
Because we really don't know what we're doing.
No, absolutely, which is why we don't cover much. Right. But anyway, Fedor, he won the Russian Sambo Championships. So, and we have a YouTube video of that we can show everybody, which is very, very short because he won so quickly.
Are we legally allowed to show that? I mean,
whatever.
It's the internet, right?
Who cares? It's already up, so we can keep showing stuff. Okay. And then we may talk about early stoppages just because of the Josh Koschek thing, and there's some controversy around some of the other fights that have been happening recently, and we should talk about that.
Oh, you can talk about the UFC card.
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, that's going to take it to that anyway, right? We'll talk about the MFC card as well. Right. And we'll talk about fighter salaries. We may get to the fact that Pennsylvania just approved MMA.
Yeah.
So we're going to see fights in Philly, and we're going to see fights in Pittsburgh, which is pretty cool.
I bet we have a viewer from Philly. I bet you anything.
Well, I bet you we probably have some people in Ontario, and the people in Ontario would really like to see MMA here in Toronto.
Yeah. That's not going to happen anytime soon.
Right.
Yeah.
But it would be really great to see that.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So we got to figure out a way to make that happen. So let's go to break.
Okay. And then we'll get Mark Pavelich on.
Yeah. While we're on break, we'll come back with Mark Pavelich.
Cool.
Okay. So you guys are watching No Shit MMA live on thatchannel.com, sponsored by Extreme Couture Toronto.
And beer.
And your beer.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to No Shit MMA on thatchannel.com. And we have on the phone Mark Pavelich, president and owner of MFC Fighting Championships out of
River Cree, Edmonton, Alberta.
Welcome to the show, Mark.
Great to be here, fellas. What's going on?
Hey, buddy. It's nice having you here. Great show on the weekend, man.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, it was violent, and a lot of things lived up to the hype, and then there's other things that I wasn't happy with. But I mean, I can't determine the fights, right? I mean, they go the way they go.
Yeah, I thought it was a great card. I mean, we were talking about this, and a lot of people were talking about it on the internet. It looked like one of the best, if not the best card ever put together on Canadian soil, really, like top to the bottom.
I think it is too, man. You know what the funny part is? I get a lot of emails from people that work with the UFC and stuff, and they were saying that they thought that card was better than most of their fight night cards. And I said, you know, that's a great compliment coming from people that actually work with them. So that's a good. I mean, like I said, I'm never really happy with what I see. It's an ongoing process, and like I said, I still think I have a long way to go before I'm considered one of the superpowers of mixed martial arts.
But that's the goal, right?
Yeah, it is the goal. It's like, I already know I'm the number one show in Canada, but it's like, being in the rock and roll world, I'm proud to be Canadian, and I love being Canadian and all that other stuff, but, if I died tomorrow and the biggest claim to fame I had that I was the biggest mixed martial art card in Canada, that would be a shame. My whole goal is to be number 2 of the UFC.
Hey, so Mark, where are you right now?
Where am I
right
home?
Now?
What do you mean?
Are you at home right now, or are you at the office?
I'm in my office.
Okay, cool. And we understand you might have a beverage handy.
Yeah, I drink red wine every night, man. It's the only thing that keeps me sane. It's like my doctor said that too. He goes, Mark, you should drink a glass of red wine every day. And I said, Doc, what's the problem, man? Because I've been drinking like a bottle, right?
Nice.
He's like, you got to slow that down, But he says, if you're happy, keep doing it, right? So, no, all joking aside, I drink 1 glass of red wine a day.
Nice. Well, it's my assumption, and a lot of people's assumption, that you and your family probably work, 12, 16 hours a day on that thing, because you've grown it from a small regional organization to something bigger, right?
Yes, very much so. What we did was we used to have lots of big office space and stuff, and then my wife constructed an office in our home. It's unbelievable. Like, she spent about $125,000 to make me an office, right? So I got her started on it, and then she just went nuts. But it's a great working atmosphere, and she knows that I like to work probably 16 to 18 hours a day. So she figured the only way I was going to ever see my children, and I have a beautiful daughter who's 12, and I have a son that works with me in the business, but she figured the only way it would happen if she built an office in the house for me, and that's what she did.
Cool. Hey, Mark, now that's pretty awesome, and I think the question that I have, at least I have a couple questions. First one, though, is, you guys have great fight cards, you guys have great events, you've already announced that MFC 21's coming up, and but my question is, when you were on HDNet Fights, you had a quick interview with Ron Kruk, and you were talking about the growth of your organization. So maybe you could fill us in a little bit about what are the plans? How are you looking to expand and go elsewhere? Are you guys looking to head down into Vegas, run some events down there? Like, what's the deal?
Well, what's funny? We went to Las Vegas, and it was really cool because when we got there, we went and met with so many casinos, and it was really neat because, it's weird how different people perceive us. You know what I mean? It's like we got to Las Vegas and there was 25 people at every casino giving us the grand tour about bringing the Maximum Fighting Championship. People want someone to compete with the UFC in Las Vegas. And what I noticed is that I've seen some of the shows go in there in the last year and just get killed in Las Vegas. And that's kind of what's happened now is that UFC owns that market there. And Kim Couture did a show there and got about 900 people.
Wow.
In a venue that holds, 15,000. So for me, it's like, I'm going to go into the United States, but I'm going to go on our terms, and I'm not going to, I'm not going to go in a venue that holds 15,000 people and get 900 people. Yeah. It's not going to happen. So we're making deals right now with Colorado Springs. We have some other places that we're interested in. We were interested first and foremost to go to the Las Vegas, but we've kind of curtailed our thought process on going to Las Vegas.
The Vegas thing. It's funny. The First Affliction event, they were fighting with each other a lot, and Atencio and Dana White, and when they were fighting, it seemed that it drew enough attention to the Affliction event that a lot of people ended up going, and it had really good buzz around it. Yeah. And then the second time around, there wasn't that anger and fighting back and forth between the two, and I think it lost some steam for them. So I don't know if that's like a decent strategy.
People try to create this wrestling persona in mixed martial arts, and I'm not one of them. Everybody knows I'm an extremely serious dude, and it's like I get along with Dana really well. So if I'm going to really be fighting with him, it's going to be for real.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's not going to be no bullshit about it. I have no problem with Dana. Me and him get along great, and I think we get along so well because I'm not a threat to him, right? Until I become a threat, which will happen one day, then we'll see how we get along. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody knows I'm not going to sit at the kiddie table. It ain't going to happen.